It's our time. It's our time.
Hey there, I'm Shub from North of Normal, and this is One Song, One Story. The concept is simple. Each guest brings a song, and together we explore what it means to them, the memories it holds, the feelings it unlocks, the story it tells about who they are. Today's episode is about survival, self-reflection, and the courage it takes to look in the mirror and decide to change. I'm joined by Willie Thornton, DJ, podcaster, father, guy who grew up in chaos and found healing through music. Willie shares how a song he'd known his whole life suddenly hit differently during one of his lowest moments and became the catalyst for rebuilding himself from the inside out. We talk about broken homes, addiction, fatherhood, and how sometimes the most iconic songs become personal lifelines. All right, let's begin. Enjoy. Welcome to the One Song, One Story podcast. Willie Thornton, aka Wild Willie. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Glad to have you on. Excited about the song that you brought today. And whereabouts in the world are you today?
I'm in a small town in Missouri called Salem, Missouri, which is probably dead middle of the Midwest of the U.S.
Okay, and it's afternoon with you. What sort of weather you got today?
It's a little chilly, but it's sunny.
Good. Sounds nice. And if your day so far was a song, what would the title of that song be and what would the vibe be?
My song for today, man, that's an off-topic question. I wasn't prepared for that one. Um, my song for today, wow. That would be it's an older song, but it's "Take This Moment." By Evergreen. Moment by Evergreen.
Okay, nice.
Because something I've had to learn recently is enjoy the moments. My daughter's been home for a couple days being sick, and I've got to enjoy doing the things I love to do, which is my podcast and spending time with my daughter. So
Okay, I like it. Yeah, enjoy the moment. Wise words. And one thing I like to do with my guests when they come on the show is kind of think of a song that connects us in some way. So we've never met before, but a song that comes into my mind when I think of you. The song I've chosen today is purely based on your name. So I've chosen a song by Willie Mason called Oxygen, which is one of my favorite songs ever. Do you know the song?
I do. I don't know like every word, but I do know this song. I'm a DJ, so I have a wide range of music that I listen to.
Yeah. I've just booked tickets to see Willie Mason. I never thought that was going to be a thing. I didn't think he'd come over this part of the world, but I don't think I've listened to any other of his songs. But Oxygen is a song that's like so powerful. It means so much to me. So yeah,
So
I'm
much heart
excited
in that
about that.
song. There's so much heart in that song. There really is.
Yeah, heart and wisdom as well. Like, how do you fit that much wisdom into an amazing song?
Yes, absolutely. That's what makes music is when you put the heart into it. Just love it. I just love when someone you can tell being a DJ and I have people send me their music. I can tell when someone actually puts their heart into it or they're just going through the motions. And I love that the fact that there's more of a scene for independent artists. I really do. And the fact that that thumbprint isn't on the artist and who they got to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and Willie, you host a podcast called Soul Impact: How Music Saved Us. So tell us a little bit about what that is and how it came about, please.
Well, basically, to tell you that, I'm gonna have to get into a little about who I am. So, um, music has always been something. My childhood was rough. I won't go in details, but a lot of child abuse, will say that. And I found music at an early age. I think I was like 10. Um, and it taught me how to feel and what to feel and how to get through the being angry because of what was going on at home.
Mm.
And I used that all through my adult up to my adult life, even to today. And so music has been so powerful for me. And so I started my business back with production, DJ karaoke back 5 years ago. And then it ventured into me running sound. And I just, for bands and stuff. And so I see a lot of artists that don't believe in themselves. So for one, I wanted to start my show because I wanted to give people a voice that were going through the bull crap of life. And so they could come on and tell their story about, whether it's an addiction, trauma, whatever their issue they have,
Mm.
there's people that can relate to it. Not everybody has the perfect childhood. And there's going to be moments where we all got to heal from something. And if one guest can come on my show and help one person, to me, that is why I do what my podcast.
Fantastic. That sounds amazing. And you asked me about whether I'd be a guest before, and I said honestly I'd have to think about it because I think I'm way more comfortable on this side than the other side. But it sounds like a fascinating concept. And you mentioned there music becoming a part of your life when you were like 10 years old. So I'm always curious about people's earliest memories of music, or did they fall in love with a specific song? So when you're talking about music being part of your life when you were 10, is there a specific moment that you remember, or is there a specific song that you remember that kind of lit you up?
I can't say there's a specific song because I like music in general.
Mm.
And a lot of it was my homeless life was so bad too that I got involved in sports and my would go spend the night at my cousin's. So and my aunt was my safe haven growing up. So with sports, you find them upbeat songs to practice to and stuff. And so I found a love for the upbeat music through sports. And then with the other stuff, my love for country music come a lot from my mom and my aunt. And then the angry music and some of the rap come from my cousin. He taught me through the music he listened to how to work through the fact that your life sucks. It's okay to be angry and feel those angry emotions. Is how you deal with those angry emotions.
Mm.
So initially, from the age of 10 to probably current, I've developed this thing and then I developed it all on my own. No one's ever told me how to do it. Is I use music to let me go through the 5 stages of grief.
Wow.
Um, so if I'm sad, I'll listen to a sad song about what I'm going through. And when I feel I'm healed from that, I'll go to another emotion and I'll just work through those 5 emotions. There's songs that make me cry, you know, not gonna give away my song today, but it and I feel music are a lot like quotes. I love music and I love quotes because I believe you're gonna get out of a song what you need it when you hear it. So I could hear the same song that I heard yesterday 2 years down the road, and the what I hear is gonna be different.
Mm.
The message I get from the song is gonna be different.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And I think part of the reason I started this podcast is because I was fascinated. It was one song in particular, and I became fascinated how it's been in my life for maybe 35 years. And the meaning constantly changes. The feeling I have when I listen to it constantly evolves. And it not only grows over time, but yeah, it does change every time you listen to it. And firm believer that some songs find you at the right time when you need to hear them. And like you said, sometimes you pick up a song when you need to hear it, depending on what you're going through. So it's fascinating the role music plays in our lives, I think.
But it actually is scientifically proven. Harvard did a study back in 2021. And this is my country way of saying what they said. This is not what the study said, so don't quote me on this. This is my country take on it. But it's your brain releases a chemical called dopamine, which is the chemical that makes you happy, sad, all that. And that's why music has such an impact, is because it releases that chemical, whether you're listening to an angry song, a happy song, whatever the song is. So that's why when you're listening to a happy song, that your brain automatically becomes happy because that chemical that is released.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating. I think both brain and body play a huge part in this. You know, I can be listening to a song that I don't particularly like in my head, but it does something to my body, and my body likes it. Uh, and vice versa, you know. So I think there's a lot going on when we hear these songs that we probably still don't fully understand. And you've talked there about country music, hip hop, but the song you brought today is probably neither of those. So it's a bit of a curveball, and I think it's I would love to get into that, but just before we do, I think a quick heads up. If anyone's new to the show, we're not here to break down music theory or studio techniques. We're here for the stories, the memories, and the moments songs get tied to. So if you haven't heard the track we're about to talk about and Willie's about to talk about, please take a second to listen before we carry on. And trust me, the conversation will land a little bit differently once the song's in your ears. So Wild Willie, what is the name of the song, the artist and the title of the song that you brought with you today?
And, when I told you this song, you said it was completely unexpected. And it's because it doesn't fit who I am. It doesn't. But the song that has probably been the most impactful would have been Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
And
which is an absolute classic that I don't think anyone will not know that song. I think anyone in the world knows it. And I'm always curious before we get into the story behind it, about the choice. You know, did you kind of wrestle with the choice? Were there a few other options, or was that the one that jumped out straight away?
honestly, at the point in my life, that was the song that probably helped turn my life around after my divorce. So there's been
Wow.
other songs. There've been other songs, but with my childhood and the relationships that were into my mom and my stepdad had, um, I brought that into my marriage and into how I was a father.
Mm,
So I didn't like who I was at the end of my divorce. I was with someone very narcissistic for 10 years, and I didn't like who I was. I was depressed, angry, every emotion you could think of. I was bitter. I did not like who I was at the tail end of my divorce. And I was actually I knew the song all my life. My sister loves music like that. And I went through a point where honestly I couldn't stand him. And not because he's a bad singer, but because it was played so much in my household that I didn't like it. Um, but I was coming back from DJing it, and in between radio stations, when you surfing to get a new radio station as you're driving, it had come on. And I was like, fine, I'll just listen to it. I knew the song. I was tired of channel surfing, hearing static. It was coming in, and I'm driving. But I've always been the type that when I drive, I listen to music when I need to clear my head.
mm,
This day, I was just listening to music. I was in a good headspace, I thought. And about the time he gets to the chorus, um, I was almost 400 pounds in, and a 400-pound guy had to pull over and start crying because in that moment, I knew exactly what I had to do in order to rebuild my life and be happy with where I wanted to be.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay.
so that's why I chose that song. I mean, there's been other songs that has helped me along my journey, but that is probably, as an adult, that is probably the one most impactful songs because
Yeah.
I used to tell everybody that was my cry song. Because when after my divorce, if I needed a good cry, I could put on that song. Not that it's a sad song, but it did something inside me that resonated and gave me purpose on how to become a better me. Because for years, I did it for everybody else, and I took my addictions and I turned it in. I'll quit drinking because this person wanted me to, or whatever the reason was. So I've had to learn that, basically like the saying, you want to make a change, you got to start with yourself.
Yeah.
Um,
Always.
and, and I adapted that. I lived my life. There was things I've always wanted to do and never would do them because I was never the person that put myself first. I was always the person that put everybody around me first, would say yes to everybody else and be miserable at the same time. But I had to learn that I had to fix me. I couldn't help anybody else when I was broken. Um, so that's probably why that song has impacted me so much. I mean, and there was other songs, like I'm religious and I don't push that on anybody. And there's some religious songs that has helped me, but Man in the Mirror is what turned me around. I wasn't really in the church at that time and made me want to quit drinking. It made me want to be a better person. You know, Everything about the song has to offer. And that's really why I love songs of that era, not just that style of music now, but country from that era, the rock and roll from that era. I love the music from that era into the 80s, early 90s,
Mm.
because to me, you feel the heart in the music. You know what I mean? And it's not, and your vocals aren't so modified that you can't understand it's not the real artist. So that's why that song is so impactful. It really is. It's channeled the change. It's the reason, like I said, it's the reason I quit drinking because I didn't like that I was drinking, but it pulled me out of it.
Wow, that's so powerful. And I hear you on the 80s music, man. I was born in 79, so the 80s was like, yeah, I was growing up in the 80s and I loved that. I loved that music and loved the vibe. Um, you were talking about, the your sister playing music in the house. So I was wondering if you can give me an idea of when you think you might have first heard this song. Like how old were you? What was going on in your world? Were you just a kid?
I was probably just a kid, but to be honest, my childhood was so bad at home. I blocked a lot of it out because I can tell you a lot of stuff that happened outside the house, but in my house, my childhood was so bad that
Mm.
I didn't care to remember it. Like, there was just my sister always had music coming out of her room. Um, and some of my fondest memories are with my sister because she would watch us and me and my other siblings. So there's 5 of us all together. And she was old enough, she would watch us all. So we would have these huge dance parties in our living room and we would have to dance to her kind of music. So I hated it then. I really did. But honestly, looking back, I'm thankful for it because it really showed me. So really, I probably was younger than 10 when I first started music. But
Mhm.
I tell everybody I was born in the wrong era. I was born in the 90s. Actually born in 90 to be exact. But I tell everybody I was born in the wrong era. I love the 80s. Um, the heart into it, and like I said, it's just when you hear a song, it's gonna stick with you. There's other songs like And just an example of that, What Hurts the Most by Rascal Flatts. It's talked about a breakup, and I've always loved the song, but that was a song that when I went through my divorce that has taught that before Man in the Mirror even heard it, well, I've always heard it, but before it affected me the way it did, that's the song that released all my emotions of being upset that my marriage was over.
Mhm.
So me, I never quit DJing while I was doing on my own through my divorce. I put on this persona of Wild Willie. I did it real bad when I was going through my divorce because, there for a little bit, I was very careless. I drank. I would DJ, drink, and couldn't drive home. I had a babysitter, so I would I would sleep in the parking lot of the bar because I was too drunk to drive. Um, so I was very careless. But then it changed, and here I am today.
Mm. Yeah, glad you are. And when you talked before about this song coming on in the car and it just breaking you down, and this is years and years later after first hearing it. Do you remember what kind of hit you most in that moment? I mean, was it just the lyrics, or was it the sound? Was it the energy? Do you remember kind of how that went through you at the time?
At first, it was, I would say, the lyrics at first, and though I'm the type of person that if I hear a song for well, even if it's not one I haven't heard for the first time, but the first time I've heard it in a long time, I like to pull over and listen to a song. So I'm about to the point where I'm getting ready to pull over, and the lyrics are there, and the beat. You can feel the heart in the song. To me, that's the song you could. I think there should have been a heartbeat pulse in his song. I really do.
Hmm.
I think you could have made that sound work in there because you can feel the heart that it's in the music that leads into the lyrics. You can just naturally feel that the heart in the music. And about the time as the chorus come on, I just lost it. I knew him, and it was just, you know, didn't like who I was. I was angry all the time. I cared more about drinking, and I was a toxic person. Um, but some of that, I'm not making excuses, was the fact that my childhood was so rough, and I had a marriage just like my mom and stepdad had, which was completely unhealthy. So there was a lot of hatred towards myself. So that song is what started changing all that around, is because it gave me a little bit of freedom in that moment. I mean, like you said, I've always knew the song. Um, and now as an adult, I was already getting back into Michael Jackson at that point. Um, Billie Jean, I loved Billie Jean at that point. I really did. I was learning how to two-step or line dance, and we were line dancing to Billie Jean. I love the song. So it's not that I completely, at that point in my life, didn't like Michael Jackson's music. I didn't go out of my way to listen to it. I mean, if it
Mm.
came on, I would listen to it. So then, music has a way of speaking to you, giving you what you need. I truly believe that. And in that moment, listening to that song, it gave me clarity on how to find me again.
Hmm. which is pretty crazy to think about, and it's worth just stopping for a moment and actually thinking about that. I mean, what you've been through, how much you're talking about, listening to you talk about how much you've changed, and the catalyst seems to have been hearing this song. I mean, that's pretty powerful to think you listen to one song and you've been able to change so much in your life.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as a, I'm a DJ, so I took a little bit of it on a different twist. I really did, because like in the song, it talks about I turned up the collar on my favorite winter coat. I took it a little further. I turned up the collar on my favorite button-up shirt I wear at weddings, and I made the song fit who I was. You know, and probably the part of the song that really smoked the most is when he gets to the chorus and he starts talking about, I'm no singer, so, but he talks about, a summer discard, a broken bottle top. To me, that resonated because I can't tell you growing up how many broken bottles did I have laying around my house, because of the fighting with my mom and my stepdad and the people that were over. So that instantly just, you know, probably instrumental, I was tired of the broken bottles, you know, to sum it up best. I mean, to me, and just listening to the song even now, that's a man that went through so much hurt that it's unreal to have lyrics with music that you feel that much.
Mm.
And that's why I love music, is because you can relate. But that man had that much heart. You could feel it in his words. So I don't know if that answered your question, and I'm sorry if I rambled on.
No, no, it does answer the question. And curious to know, after listening to that song and having such a powerful effect, what was your relationship with the song, after that? Did you kind of listen to it every day for weeks? Or
I
did you?
didn't. Yeah, I didn't listen to it on repeat, but I did. I made sure I heard it daily. I did, especially, and if I was in bed, and even though I already heard it once that day, if I was just having a bad day, because late at night it was the hardest. If I was having and I needed just a little bit of hope, I would lay in my bed and cuddle up with my 10 months old daughter, and we would listen to Michael Jackson and let my Spotify take my music wherever it took me. But it would start
Mm,
there. Um, and I'm pretty fortunate. I really am. I'm blessed with a wonderful little girl. And, part of my story is a part of why I hated myself so much is I chose my ex-wife over my kids and lost some of my other kids to the state. So there's a lot of hatred there before that. I won't get into a lot of details. But so when I became a dad again, I want to do everything right by her, not because it's almost as if she completes me. It really does. You get to moments where, and there's songs, and that's what's so great about music is there's songs that can relate to no matter what you're going through.
mm. Yeah, 100% understand that. I mean, I've got a little boy. We were talking before. I've got two kids, but my little boy's similar age to yours, to your daughter, and yeah, I know that feeling. Um, and what does it mean to you when you listen to it now? Because I guess years have passed. You've gone through a lot of change. You're
I mean,
you're still
it's
the
been
same
about
person.
oh, I am not the same person. It's been about 3 years. July 23rd of this year will be 3 years.
Mm,
So it's been about 3 years, and I probably listened to it every day consecutively for about a year, to be honest. Um, Sometimes two, or if day was hard, it would be two or three. I don't purposely listen to it now. It's in my playlist. If it comes on, I get joy out of it now, though, because now I know how far I've come, how much I did change to be the person that I really truly like.
mm,
Um, the song almost teaches you how to love yourself again, and that's what I had to learn. Is I had to learn how to love myself. Because when you come from a broken home and a broken marriage, and you know, 10 years of someone telling you that you're no good, no one's ever going to love you the way they do. Um, can't do any better. So you come out already thinking this much of yourself. So that's why, and honestly, that's part of another big reason why it, was so impactful because it teaches you that who you are is up to you, not what anybody else says,
Mm.
you know? And now I listen to it and I smile because now I know how far I've come, how hard I worked. You know, I've had to be intentional. It wasn't just about getting over what I've gone through and changing my mindset helped a lot too, because like
Mm.
society has made it to where as bad as my childhood was and my marriage was and what my kids went through when we lost them and all that, um, I could play a victim really bad. I could, but I never tell anybody I'm a victim. I'm a survivor of child abuse. I am a survivor of a narcissistic marriage. So I think music will, if you listen to the right music, it will help adjust your mindset.
Mm.
Because you can live in a mindset. But it teaches you a lot. If you listen to it, you know, music can teach you how to be a dad. There's so many songs out there about being a dad. There's songs about overcoming addictions. There's songs about you think of it. We're in a society today that it's so easy to find a song. Even 30 years ago when I was a kid, it wasn't easy. You had to literally go to the store. You had to go and look and stroll and, oh, I heard this song. What was that song I heard?
Yeah.
Or sit by the radio because you knew they were going to play the song. And not right now, sister. Sorry about that. Um,
No worries.
but it teaches you a lot. Like moments like that, might interrupt somebody else's flow, but she's got to know she's important.
Yeah,
And
100%.
being intentional, that took what, 2 minutes? And now she's going back to play. So music helped me learn, process all that. Who I am,
Mm.
like wholeheartedly. I did not have the best dad. So I Googled songs about being a good dad, songs about having a negative impact as a father, you know? Um, and I'm sure those songs my kids listen, my older kids that I lost listen to. Now my family has them and I do get to see them. But I'm sure there's songs out there that about my kids to listen to that they're going to relate to. And I hope my hope for them is that it brings them healing. You know, ultimately that's what music is for me. It's a way of healing. It's a way of expressing how I'm feeling.
And do you feel any sense of pride when you listen to this song, given how much you've managed to change your life?
I don't feel prideful because I try to keep that at bay because pride comes before the fall. I've been so prideful in the past that it caused me to fall. So I try to keep really hard my pride. It's more of a sense of accomplishment than it is pride.
Mm.
And I do reflect on it a lot. I listened to the song yesterday. Um, and that's probably why it was so easy for me to say is that I heard the song yesterday and I reflected about it yesterday.
Mm.
You know, your journey is your journey. And for me, my journey reflects that song because that song helped me be who I am.
Yeah. And I mean, I think this is always the fascinating thing about music in general is, it's amazing the impact this song's had on you. I listened to this song and I've grown up with this song. Uh, yeah, it's like inspirational. I kind of, when I listen to the lyrics, I've always in my mind thought it was about a different kind of scene, and it's uplifting. It's fantastic, but it just feels like a Jacko song to me, a great Jacko song that's always been playing. It makes me feel good. But to think one person can just have it as a feel good song and the other person listens to it and boom, a light goes on in their head. It's so much about, you know, how that song meets the individual at that particular time. Um, it's quite fascinating just to think that the song is the same, but the reaction, the interpretation, uh, can be so different depending on who's listening. So, uh, yeah, grateful that this song, that found you at that time. It sounded like something you need to hear. And slightly different question: if this song, were a scene from a film, what do you think it would look like? What do you kind of see in your mind when you hear this song?
Honestly, for me, and not just because it's what I went through, but for me, I could see it being a movie where someone's going through some horrible stuff and they hear the song and, almost like, the iconic Rocky scene where he's training. Everybody knows the iconic moment, To me, that's what that song represents, is that the moment where you rebuild. It's that rebuilding moment, I think that song, if it was a movie, it would exactly be that. It would be a song about rebuilding who you are. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a song is and I used to think the same thing. I do now. Then I did not, but do now I do. It's like, man, I'm toe tapping to this, I'm getting into it. But at the same time, the message is the message. I mean, that is why music is so powerful. You can put in a I have a song that I use on my podcast. It's by a friend of mine, and it's my intro for my podcast. And it's an upbeat song, but it's about being alone on the street by yourself and it's time to come home. But the beat is so upbeat that the message hits different. And I think
Mhm.
that's why Man in Mirror was so impactful. Is because yes, it's an upbeat song. It's get your blood flowing, get you moving. But at the same time, if you take 5 seconds and listen to the music, if you're going through something, you can relate, and this no matter the song, like you said, what may impact you won't be the song that I hear and be like, oh my gosh, I got so
Mm.
much out of the song because music gives us what we need. Everybody what they need at that moment. Not every song is going to resonate with every person that walks the earth. Not everybody likes old country. Not everybody likes the hairband of the 80s, you know? So to me, it opens for the interpretation. And I love when
Yeah.
you sit with artists, like I've sit down with artists on my show and I've talked about what's the real meaning behind those songs. And it's like, man, that is not what I got at all. I mean, that's a good message, and I'm glad you wrote that song and it helped you through that, but that is not the message I got because it's what you need to hear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, as a songwriter, I'm fascinated by that. Is that I don't think I've ever written a song where the person listening really, really, I mean, they hear so many different things. Uh, and it's both a mixture of, what was going through my mind. I didn't put it all down. What they're hearing is little bits of what I've put down. And um, yeah, it's so open to however you want to listen to it a lot of the time. But I mean, that's the beauty, right? It'd be boring if it was simple. Um, yeah, a
And,
question
and
for
if
you.
every song charted the same, and I think that's a big impact on how the music is. I'm in school for audio production and I'm learning a lot about that. Um, a lot of it is how they song chart how the song charts because it's about that buildup. Not every song's gonna have a pre-chorus, not every song's gonna have 3 choruses after the bridge. Um, it's how it charts. And I think them build-ups in the songs where the tempo changes and the dramaticness of the song, we'll call it, when all that takes effect in the music, then you're gonna get where it impacts you so much that,
Mm.
and that's just my take on it. That's just a country boy from Missouri's take on it.
And if someone else were to cover this song, who would you want it to be and why?
I wouldn't want anyone to cover it.
Okay, all right. You just think don't touch it.
No, because it's such an iconic song. Um, could and I'm not saying no one's he was the greatest to walk the earth. Everybody has their flaws. But could you really do the song justice? So many people, and I've seen it in my line of work, have done these songs and completely missed the mark. Yeah, their intentions were good, and they'll even tell you, um, my intentions were good. And he's like, and I've done this, but I'm not releasing it because I didn't hit the mark
Mm.
because the song is so iconic. And I think reason why I say I don't want anyone to do it, because I know me, I would be looking for the flaws in the song that I find so iconic. And not because I'm judgmental, but because the standard that is that song, yeah, you can make a song your own, but and I'm all for covers, but I think there's certain songs that should, just like certain movies, certain
Mm.
songs, certain movies should never be remade. And to
Yeah.
me, that is a song that should never be remade.
Okay. I think part of me agrees with you, but I'm also curious to see if if someone has really reinterpreted this. I would never want to hear it in the same style. Yeah, I would. I think I'd only be curious if someone had done it, for instance, a country version. You know what I mean? To see what that
You
sounded
know,
like.
I get that. That would definitely or make it a rock and or more of a rock roll kind of song. Yeah, I could see it. And, you know, maybe there is someone out there that can redo it and do it justice and make it their own.
Mm.
But I think that's what makes a cover. Okay. If you go out there and you are gonna kind of, and that's why I say no one can or should, is because there's so many people that try to put that spin on it that they're Michael had an amazing talent. You know what? There's probably people that strive to have that, achieve that, and in doing so, they hold themselves up to the Michael standard.
Mm.
And so, like, all right, he hit it perfectly right here, and then they beat themselves up about the song. So then, to me, that's why it's a hard one to do, because now if someone wants to do it and send it to me, I'd probably listen to it, and but I wouldn't be rude. But the thing is, if you're gonna redo it, don't try to do it like Michael would,
Mm. Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
because there can only be one version of Michael Jackson's "Man in the Mirror." There's only one. And as being a DJ and a sound guy, I see covers all the time where they get out there and they go through the motions and they perform. We'll just use "Man in the Mirror" because we're talking "Man in the Mirror." They will go perform that song exactly like he did. To me, I find
Mm.
it boring. And I find it boring because how did you make it your own? You know, um, but again, how, making it your own, um, honestly, I would like this. I don't have anyone in mind, but I'm being honest. I think it would cool to see it done in an indie rock kind of vibe.
Okay.
I mean, I think it would. I think it, or or a country, like they're calling it country rock now, or either even that kind of style where you mash up two genres. I think it would be a real to see it in that kind of. But to say who I would want to do it, I wouldn't want to put that pressure on anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such an iconic song, and people are going to critique them so hard. But yeah, there's no way. There's no way I would be like, all right, I'm going to put this on you, and you need to do this song because, you know, now there is people that can interpret music their own way, and music can be interpreted in many ways. I believe for me, music is my love language. I love music. It's how I get through stuff. It's how I deal with stuff. Music's my love language. But at the end of the day, if you're going to cover a song, make it your own.
Hmm. Yeah, 100% agree with that. Willie, we're starting to come towards the end of our conversation now, but before we do, looking back on what we've shared, the song, your story, the memories it carries, is there what stands out most for you right now? Was there anything new that's come up for you at all?
No, it's honestly, it would just be the healing and the growth I've had as an individual and as a father, and now as a podcaster. I tie a lot of who I am into that. And now I wear a lot of hats, um, and I do them proudly. And I think that song has brought me to a point to where I can juggle everything I juggle. I mean, at one point, I was working 30 hours home health, DJing, being a single father, remodeling a house, and doing a podcast all at once.
Hmm.
So a lot of it is how and I was doing two different podcasts. So it's all on how you interpret it. Your joy. Find that song and if you don't have that song, find a song about what you're going through and listen to it. Google. I mean, Google's an amazing tool.
Hmm.
Uh, and like for me, I use music, and I said this once already, but I'm reiterating it. If you have to adapt my motto and use it to help you go through the 5 stages of grief, go for it. Because honestly, that has given me the most healing. Is because there's songs like I have angry songs that has helped me from the moment when I was coming through a divorce. When my divorce was over, I went to being sad, then I become angry, and then so then there's that, and then whatever the song is. There's so easy now to find songs about what you're going through.
Yeah, it's a fascinating idea. Um, Listen, Willie, thank you for bringing this song and for bringing yourself so openly. It's been a pleasure to meet you and a pleasure to share this time with you. Before we close, where can people find you, follow your work, connect with what you're creating right now?
I am all over the place. I'm on Facebook, Soul Impact, How Music Saved Us. Um, I'm on Podmatch. That's how we and you met. I'm on Instagram. I'm on X, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon, Apple. I don't know if I said that one already. I'm all over the place. I'm on a podcast network called The Scene Projects on YouTube. If you'll type in The Scene Project / Soul Impact, How Music Saved Us, it'll pull up my podcast. I'm all over the place. I really am. You can actually Google Soul Impact, How Music Saved Us, and I think it's the first 10 tabs are nothing but me. Um, and if you're on Facebook, look up Willie Thornton. That's my personal page. And just remember, no matter where you're at in your journey, you're never too broken to be fixed.
Beautiful words to end on, Willie. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
It's our time. It's our time. It's our time.